Subway sandwiches was a pretty basic food. We grew up with sandwiches, sandwich shops all over. Other parts of the world, this is seen as an exotic food. It would be like us going out for a Japanese sushi dinner.
Subway, the way a sandwich should be.
When I started with the company, we had exactly 156 stores. 20 years ago, most of our stores were here in Connecticut, and the thought of going global was as far-fetched as Star Wars.
The guy who started the company, Fred, who started when he was 17, he was trying to figure out a way to put himself through college. So he contacted a family friend by the name of Dr. Peter Buck, who was a nuclear physicist at the time. And Pete said to Fred, well, you know, here's an idea. Rather than just give you money, how about if you open up a submarine sandwich shop? He took the $1,000 that Pete ended up offering him, and he went and opened up the first store, and that's how the whole thing started. We actually have more restaurant locations than McDonald's in Canada.
We're the second largest restaurant chain in the world, second only to McDonald's. In the year 2000, we became a $4 billion company with annual sales worldwide of $4 billion plus. We are 100% franchise. The Subway investment is one of the lowest investments in the franchising industry. To simply be able to use the Subway name, $10,000 investment for the initial investment. And then, of course, it varies on building out the restaurant. It could range anywhere from $60,000 to $160,000, depending on location, size, etc.
When I came to Subway, we had about 166 stores, and Fred came to us just before we hit the 200 mark. Now, this is 1982. He announced we will have 5,000 stores by 1994. Everybody looked at him, basically thought he was crazy. You know, Fred's going over the deep end this time. But Fred believed in the goal, so much so that he put the goal on all of our business cards. He put it on the sub wrap, he put it on our napkin, he put it on our correspondence, every piece of paper we sent out. Guess what? We had 5,000 stores by 1990. We bit the bullet and we hit the goal 4 years early. Today, we've got a lot of stores. There's a bit of Subway. Where was the first international Subway store? Was it Canada? No. Was it Mexico? No. Was it Puerto Rico? No. Was it somewhere relatively close to the United States? No. It was in Bahrain, in the Middle East. And as a result, this is how we developed our international growth philosophy. The idea was somebody came to us. They believe in the Subway concept. They know their local culture. That's how we get into places like Tanzania and various South American countries and various Asian countries.
One of the challenges with an international location is the sourcing of products. Obviously, the base of a franchise system is uniformity.
What makes a Subway shop profitable here in Milford, Connecticut is the same thing that makes it profitable in San Diego, California, in Australia, in Costa Rica, in Germany.
So what we need to do is we need to source local products that meet our what we call gold standard, that meets our specifications to formula. Some of our bread manufacturers will go overseas and they'll meet with a local baker.
The biggest challenge we face with this international community that we service is really the language issue.
Up until a few years ago, the only Subway training facility was at our corporate offices in Milford, Connecticut, which is the world headquarters for Subway.
We get people coming here from all over the world. Again, anybody who buys a franchise has got to attend training. Now, we have 3 training centers.
We opened our first international training facility in Costa Rica, which handled training for a lot of our Spanish-speaking countries.
Somebody only speaks Spanish, and they're in a training store where the crew and the customers are all speaking English. Obviously, there's a problem. And we address that problem by simply opening in a Spanish-speaking nation, where the trainees could be dealing with people of the same language, same culture as themselves. We opened a school in Australia, and we're in the process of opening one in China. We've had a number of Chinese come here. The language problem has been the primary issue. Some of them have come with translators. It's very awkward. It's also quite expensive.
Our biggest challenge internationally is building a brand name. When you go into foreign countries, you're kind of getting people to unlearn or relearn eating habits they've built up for thousands of years.
We grew up with sandwiches, sandwich shops all over. Other parts of the world, this is seen as an exotic food. It would be like us going out for a Japanese sushi dinner.
This product itself is new for us. The bread, you slice it and put the cheese and other, ingredients inside. It should be delicious for us to eat. Our tongues are, immune to the oil heating. So to break it, this good Subway, I think, is a good beginning in India.
Where companies make a big mistake is to try to second guess the culture, and that is to go in and say, well, people in this country eat this, so we've got to put this on our menu. It's not about going into a country and throwing a huge advertising budget out there and just throwing away advertising dollars. It's about starting with one store, looking at the population directly around that store, going out to that population, and training those people, almost one person at a time, to eat submarine sandwiches.
Sometimes there's difficulties with people from other countries because they don't understand the American way of doing business. In other countries, sometimes business is conducted more through family connections, which we might think is not a big difference, but it really is.
There are things that culturally you can't do. In Israel, for example, we can't have pork products in the store, so we had to take our pork products and things that would be traditionally pork-based products, make them beef-based. You couldn't put cheese on the beef, so we made a point of letting people know this is how we're preparing the sandwiches. They're prepared according to your culture. Come on in and try it.
This is Jared. He weighed 425 pounds.
Jared came to us. It was actually his mom who wrote us a letter and sent an article that appeared in his college newspaper and said, my son had this great achievement.
The Jared concept is there's a real nice guy out there named Jared Fogle, and this guy lost a lot of weight eating Subway sandwiches, and we didn't tell him to do it.
Inspired by Subway's low-fat sandwiches, he invented a diet of his own, one he called the Subway diet. At the heart of his diet was Subway's turkey breast sub, a foot-long veggie, and lots of walking. Today, Jared weighs 190 pounds. We're not saying his diet is right for you. You should talk to your doctor first.
So Jared is very popular in international markets, almost as much as he is here in the United States. Jared went and did a program on Oprah. That really kicked off a whole campaign of hundreds and hundreds of letters that come into Subway headquarters telling us about their personal achievements and what people have done to lose weight and how Jared inspired them.
His name is Jared, and he'll lead you to Subway. That's where it goes.
And it's kind of taken on a life of its own.
We do dub for international markets. We are also right now shooting some Hispanic spots. The interesting thing is the challenge of promoting Jared and our Jared campaign in Canada because of some of the advertising regulations that they have and the fact that we really can't talk about Jared losing weight. We can talk about him feeling better about himself, but there's some strict guidelines. So the challenges of how you promote really vary from country to country.
The trick to eating a Subway sandwich in a suit is to be very